Welcome back. This is Rich again, back for an exclusive YouTube video blog. Tonight's YouTube video blog is about um, WrestleMania uh, feuds in the WWE back in the golden era, new generation era, and part of the Attitude Era that did not have a WrestleMania blowoff match. These matches, they were destined for a WrestleMania blowoff match, but for one reason or another, it did not happen. But first, these very important messages. Don't forget to listen to Crystal's Time Machine each and every Friday and Saturday night from 9 to 11 p.m. on WCAP 980, where everybody gets it. If you can't catch the show live, listen to the podcast exclusively on archive.org. Goes back to October 2015. Follow Crystal on Twitter at Crystal and John, a Machine Crystal. Follow her on Instagram at Crystal Johnson. Follow her on Facebook, the official Crystal's Time Machine Facebook page, the official Crystal's Time Machine group page, and Game Show fan page. And follow Crystal on YouTube at Crystal Johnson, one exclusive video a week. Follow me on Twitter at Chewy7. Follow me on Instagram at Rich Sarasol. Say hello to Broadway Pizza, the official sponsor of Crystal's Time Machine. You should say the promo code Crystal's Time Machine, $2 off your meal. So that's pretty good. Okay, and now on to the feature presentation. In this video blog, I'll be talking about the greatest feuds in WWE history during the Federation years, New Generation era, and part of the Attitude Era that these feuds did not culminate with a WrestleMania blowoff match. And where do you start with this one? Probably the most obvious one is WrestleMania 8. It was going to be penciled in Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair for the WWE title. In fact, they announced it on WWE TV in early February 1992, but this was the start of the investigation of the feds looking into Vince McMahon for steroid charges, and Hulk Hogan needed to go away for a while. Plus, he was filming Mr. Nanny, so they did the switch of the double main event: Flair versus Savage, and Hogan versus Sid Justice. And the house show field back in the fall of 1991 was a little bit disappointing because they did not draw big time crowds, and they just didn't want to go with it. But this is the most obvious one. This feud should have culminated at WrestleMania 8. Hogan probably would have won because he was making a movie. Flair would have probably won, but you never know. Another one, and this time is another WrestleMania 8 one. It was Jake the Snake Roberts facing Macho Man Randy Savage. This feud should have been blown off at WrestleMania 8. I think that might have been the original plan if Hogan and Flair main event. I heard something that was supposed to be a steel cage match with the loser leaving the WWE. The background on the Jake the Snake versus Macho Man feud is Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth's wedding reception was interrupted by a King Cobra by Jake the Snake Roberts, and at the time, Macho Man Randy Savage was suspended. No, he was forced to retire at WrestleMania 7 by the Ultimate Warrior, but he wanted reinstatement. And a week before Survivor Series 1991, Jake the Snake Roberts snake bit Macho Man's arm and had a big X on it. And then they had a feud at matches Tuesday in Texas. Macho Man won, but Jake the Snake slapped Miss Elizabeth in the um, post match thing. And then this feud continued in house shows. They kind of had a blow off match at Saturday night's main event um, a month before WrestleMania. So that was kind of it for that. They had some house show matches with a steel cage. This one should have blew off at WrestleMania 8. Another feud that did not have had a blow off at WrestleMania was Tito Santana facing off against the model Rick Martel. This feud should have blown off at WrestleMania 6. Tito and Rick Martel were tag team partners on Strikeforce, but at WrestleMania 5, Tito Santana inadvertently hit Rick Martel with the flying forearm. When they faced off against the Brainbusters, Rick Martel walked out, and then he turned heel and became the model. Originally, Tito Santana really wanted to be the heel against Rick Martel, but he was rejected. Tito was rejected because the plan, the plan all along was to turn Rick Martel heel and become the model. That model gimmick was pretty good for Rick Martel. But WrestleMania 6, Rick Martel was on the opening match against Coco Beware, while Tito Santana faced off against the Barbarian. They should have had the WrestleMania 6 blow-off match, in my humble opinion. You could have had Coco versus the Barbarian. But it seems like every Royal Rumble for a few years, when Tito Santana would enter the ring, he would go right after Rick Martel. Another WrestleMania feud that was never another WWE feud that never got a proper WrestleMania blow off was Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake. This was going to be WrestleMania 7, and there was some rumors really going around that Earthquake was going to beat the Ultimate Warrior at Royal Rumble 1991 to become the WWE champion, and then Hogan was going to win the Royal Rumble and beat Earthquake for the belt. But the blow off was at a Royal Rumble 1991 with Hulk Hogan eliminating Earthquake. Earthquake gave Hulk Hogan several Earthquake specials. Brother Love's show on WWE Superstars in May of 1990 that was to get Hogan off television so he could film Suburban Commando. I've heard rumors that a tugboat was going to turn on Hogan and become a chic tugboat managed by General Adnan, but it should have been Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake at WrestleMania 7. Another WWE feud that never had a blow off at WrestleMania was Lex Luger versus Tatanka. Lex Luger and Tatanka had a big feud. Tatanka accused Lex Luger of selling out to the $1 Million Man before SummerSlam 94. People really wanted to see Luger turn heel and join the $1 Million Corporation and with Ted DiBiase, but this was a swerve, which that swerve with Tatanka turning heel wasn't a good heel turn, but this feud with Tatanka and Lex Luger went on for months. Tatanka costing Luger matches at Survivor Series and at tag team matches and having indecisive finishes on Monday Night Raw and other WWE programmings. They had the big blow off 1 week before WrestleMania in a steel cage match. Luger started to form the Allied Powers with Davey Boy Smith around that time, and Tatanka kind of fell down the cards, but they should have had this WrestleMania 11 blow off match in a steel cage. It would have made WrestleMania 11 a little more better, in my opinion, but the WWE probably gave up on Lex Luger as a serious babyface after WrestleMania 10. Another WWE feud that did not have a proper WrestleMania blow-off was Ravishing Rick Rude versus Rowdy Piper. This feud started when Piper mooned Rick Rude during his title match against the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam, and then they had they had Rowdy Piper on the Brother Love show, putting out for trying to make Brother Love more better, like having better hygiene, but Rick Rude came in and attacked him with mouthwash, and then they start the long feud, like disqualifications on house shows. They had kind of a big blow off on the steel cage at Madison Square Garden show, but this should have been saved. The big blow off at WrestleMania 6. Rude wrestled Superfly Jimmy Snuka while Piper, in half blackface, faced off against Bad News Brown, which that was in very, very poor taste, in my opinion. WrestleMania 6, that match between him and Bad News Brown, it's not even on Peacock. That match has been removed from existence for obvious reasons. But Piper and Rude should have had that big blow-off WrestleMania 6 match. And another WWE feud that should have had a big blow-off in a WrestleMania was Stone Cold Steve Austin against Triple H. They were feuding for many months in 1999 over the WWE title, but it was maybe slated that the feud was going to culminate at WrestleMania 16, but with Stone Cold Steve Austin's neck injury and having to get surgery, it never happened. But they continued that feud on to 2000 and 2001. But WrestleMania 16, if Austin was ready to go, he and Triple H probably would have blown off that feud. Some other honorable mentions for this video blog include Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff WrestleMania 3. They had when Orndorff turned on Hogan in a tag team match with Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy. They had feuded for months on house shows, which made millions and millions of dollars. They had a blow off at Saturday night's main event that should have continued on to WrestleMania. The rumor going around, if Andre the Giant wasn't ready, that match would have been a main event at WrestleMania 3. Also, another one was LOD versus Demolition at WrestleMania 7, but Demolition up to that after 1990 was kind of toast and kind of a one that's not really a feud per se. Jim Ross versus Vince McMahon was supposed to have two planned WrestleMania matches, WrestleMania 13 and WrestleMania 15, but those things didn't happen. But that would have been funny if that happened. It would have been off the wall. I'm not talking about Sandra Shaw either. And I'll be back with another live video blog. Another YouTube exclusive later on in the week. Bye now.